I never planned to feel something for the 19-year-old at the gym. It started with a glance, just a split second. I was helping someone with their set when he walked in for the first time. Lean frame, alert eyes, movements a little stiff, like he was trying hard not to look out of place. But I saw the way his gaze searched the room, like he was looking for something familiar, something to ground him. He didn't find it, not right away. I'd been training there for years. I knew every face, every routine. I could tell who came to push their limits and who showed up just to be seen. And then there were the ones carrying something inside, something heavy, shame, pain, confusion they couldn't yet name. I could always spot it. And then there was him. I caught his reflection in the mirror behind me. Something about him shifted the energy in the room. Later, I asked the front desk about him, tried not to sound too curious. 19, they said, fresh out of high school. Just a kid on paper. But the way he held himself, focused, grounded, even through the noise, it stuck with me. It shouldn't have. I told myself to move on, let it go. But the next day, fate didn't care. We were placed side by side, same rack, same hour. And when he turned to me, voice low and unsure, and asked, "Are you finished with this bench?" Something inside me tightened. I didn't have words for it. I just nodded and stepped aside. But something had shifted. This isn't just a gym story. It's about timing, boundaries, that blurry space between respect and something deeper. It's about how one glance, one moment, can make you question everything you thought you knew about your wants, your future, even who you are. What happened between us wasn't planned, and it wasn't simple either. By the time I realized how far I'd gone, turning back wasn't an option. If you've ever felt drawn to someone you didn't expect to, if you've ever had your world tilt from a glance or a single touch, if your heart has ever questioned the timing of it all, then maybe this story will feel familiar. So lean in, because what started with a soft, "Are you using this bench?" led to a night I'll never forget. It was a Thursday. I remember because Thursdays were always brutal. Leg day, the kind of day where I kept my head down, letting the weight speak louder than words. The gym was packed. The music pounded like a second heartbeat. The ground thudded beneath us, the air thick with sweat and focus. I was mid-squat when I noticed him again. Not directly, just a flicker in the mirror. He stood by the cable machine, scanning the room like someone dropped into a city they didn't know. That same nervous energy clung to him. Oversized t-shirt, shoulders slightly hunched. There was a quiet kind of vulnerability in him that made him seem smaller than he really was. I tried to focus, but when I racked my bar and reached for my water bottle, he was suddenly there, just a few feet away, watching me, not boldly, not flirtatiously, just openly curious, honest, in a way that caught me off guard. I gave him a small nod, nothing more. He flushed, looked down quickly, and fumbled with his earbuds like he hadn't meant to be caught staring. A few minutes later, he stepped closer and asked if I was finished with the equipment, and that's where it truly began. He was already at the dumbbell rack when I reached for the 40s. I just finished my final set with the 70s, hands still warm, breath a little uneven. Our fingers nearly touched. "Sorry," he said, soft, uncertain, but not fragile. I looked up. He gave me a small, uneasy smile, like he wasn't sure if he belonged there. "No problem," I replied. "New here?" He nodded. "Just started this week." Just 5 words. But the way he said them, like the unfamiliar weight of the place was pressing down on him, it tugged at something in me. I wanted to say more, but I just nodded, gave him a quiet welcome, and turned back to my routine. My heart beat a little faster. I told myself it was just the workout. But the next day, he was there again. Same time. Different shirt. That same quietly curious energy. We crossed paths near the bench press. He lingered a moment as I finished my set, then stepped in just as I stood. "Would you mind spotting me for a set?" he asked. "Just one set. Harmless. Friendly. But the way he looked at me, like he trusted me to catch him if he failed, it felt heavier than the barbell. "Yeah, sure," I said, stepping behind him. He lifted. Not perfectly, but with focus and effort. When he finished, he exhaled like he'd just crossed some invisible line. After that, it became a rhythm. We didn't talk much, didn't need to. Somehow we always ended up near each other. Sometimes using the same machines. Sometimes just close enough to notice. A glance by the water fountain, a nod between sets. Little moments where the noise faded and it felt like only we were there. I learned small things slowly. His name was Olivia, 19, just out of high school, taking a break before figuring out what came next. One day he told me the gym helped with his anxiety. Gives me something I can control, he said. I told him I understood. And I did. That time, he smiled. Really smiled. One of those rare smiles that starts in the eyes and slowly stretches to the mouth. It would have been easy to keep things casual, a gym friendship, nothing more. But I couldn't stop thinking about him. The way he stretched, quiet and focused. The way he spoke, in half laughs and full silences. The way I watched him when I thought he wasn't looking. And then came the moment I stopped pretending. We were both leaving at the same time. The sky was turning orange. The parking lot bathed in sunset. He paused by his car, hand on the door. You always train like that? He asked. Most days. He gave a quiet laugh, then glanced at the... He looked at the ground, then back at me. That's cool. Just 2 words, but the way he said them, soft, almost shy, like he wasn't sure what to do with what he was feeling, it made me pause. This time he didn't look away. And I felt it. That shift. That unspoken something growing louder between us. I got in my car with my chest tight, like I just sprinted instead of walked. Then came the rain. It was pouring when I saw him walk in, hood soaked, sleeves clinging to his arms, sneakers squeaking with every step. He looked frustrated, maybe even a little embarrassed. But when he spotted me near the front, his whole face changed. Just for a second, recognition, relief, maybe more. I was already warmed up when he dropped his bag near the mats. He passed me with a tired smirk. Rough day, I asked. He sighed. AC's busted. Traffic was a nightmare, and I stepped in a puddle the size of a lake. He held up his wet sleeves like proof. I laughed. Guess today's perfect for legs then. He groaned. Why is it always leg day with you? But his tone, it was different. Playful, familiar. Like we'd skipped a few chapters and landed in the part where we already knew each other. I liked it, and I hated how much I liked it. We trained side by side that day. No plan, no questions. Just this quiet rhythm we both fell into. I'd lift, he'd rest, he'd grab water, I'd towel off. We didn't need words anymore. During a break, he sat next to me on the mat. Close, closer than usual. Our shoulders nearly touched. His arm brushed mine when he leaned back. But he didn't move away. I tried not to read into it. Maybe he was just the type who didn't think twice about closeness. Someone naturally comfortable with his space overlapping yours. But then, out of nowhere, he said something that froze me. You ever feel like some people come into your life just to mess with your head? He was staring up at the ceiling, both of us flat on our backs after a brutal core session. I turned my head slightly, watching his profile. You mean, like in a toxic way? I asked. He gave a small shrug. Not toxic, just confusing. I waited for him to say more. He didn't. The silence thickened, heavy, like the air had turned to syrup. My heart picked up. I guess, I said slowly, it depends on who the person is. He turned his head toward me. Yeah, that. But the way his eyes locked onto mine, it didn't feel casual. It felt deliberate, like he wanted me to understand something he couldn't say out loud. I sat up quickly, afraid I'd say something I couldn't take back. When the session ended, he didn't follow me out like usual. I lingered in the parking lot, pretending to scroll through my phone, waiting. But he stayed inside, refilling his bottle, taking his time. I told myself it was nothing. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to the way he looked at me, the sound of his voice, the way he didn't flinch when our arms touched. I didn't know what he was trying to tell me, or if he was trying to tell me anything at all. But I was starting to understand what I wanted, and it scared me. I'd been through enough. I'd had relationships. I wasn't someone who unraveled over mixed signals. But Olivia, he wasn't like anyone else. Maybe it was the age gap. Maybe it was the timing. Or maybe it was the feeling that we were both standing on the edge of something unnamed, and neither of us dared take the first step. The next day, he didn't show. I brushed it off, told myself he was probably busy or had class. But then another day passed, and another. By the fourth day, I was restless, anxious. Just when I was about to give up, tired, confused, frustrated, my phone buzzed. It was a DM on Instagram. "Hey, it's Olivia. Sorry I've been MIA. Can we talk?" No emojis, no punctuation, just raw honesty. "Can we talk?" My heart thudded hard in my chest. I typed back, "Of course." His reply came instantly. "Tonight, if you're free, outside the gym, around 8 inches." I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. I didn't know what he wanted to say. 100 possibilities raced through my mind, and most weren't good. Still, I replied, "I'll be there." I showed up early, parked where I had a clear view of the front doors. My stomach was a mess, like it was full of rocks. Every time someone walked past the glass, my heart jumped. Then, just before 8, I saw him. Olivia. Hoodie pulled up, hands in his pockets. He stepped outside, looked around, and spotted me. Our eyes locked. No smile. Just this steady, purposeful walk toward my car. Something in his expression made my chest go tight. He opened the door but didn't sit. Just stood there, hoodie damp from the cold. "I need to tell you something," he said, voice low, eyes unsure. "And I don't know how you'll take it." The drizzle had started just minutes before. Behind him, the gym lights dimmed as the staff locked up. The parking lot was nearly empty, quiet, but in that moment, everything still felt loud. The buzzing street lamp, my heartbeat, the weight of his words, unspoken but pressing. "Get in," I said softly. He hesitated just a second, then climbed in. He didn't look at me, just stared ahead, fists tight in his lap. "I didn't ghost you," he said. "I mean, I kind of did, but not because I wanted to. I just didn't know how to deal with it." "Deal with what?" I asked gently, careful not to crack the fragile quiet between us. He exhaled sharply. "I think I like you." The words hit like a stone dropped into still water. I didn't move, didn't speak. Not yet. "I don't even know what that means," he rushed on. His voice sped up, like if he paused he'd lose the nerve. "I've never said that to a guy before. I've never even felt it. Not like this, but around you, something wakes up in me. I don't know if it's admiration or attraction or—" He stopped, shaking his head. "Maybe both." I swallowed hard. My mouth was dry. I wanted to reach out, to say something, anything, that would make this easier for him. But I didn't want to interrupt what he was finally letting himself say. "How long have you felt that way?" I asked quietly. He finally looked at me. "Since the second or third time we trained together. At first I just thought you were cool, safe. But then it was the way you looked at me sometimes. The way I found myself hoping you'd talk to me first." His voice cracked. My chest ached. "I didn't come here tonight expecting anything," he added quickly. "I just couldn't keep pretending I didn't feel it. I had to say it, even if it ruins everything." I looked at him, really looked. His cheeks were flushed from the cold. His hands were trembling slightly. And behind it all was that same vulnerable expression I saw the first day he walked into the gym. Unsure, quiet, like he didn't know if he belonged. "I'm glad you said it," I told him. "Really, because I've been struggling too." His eyebrows lifted, eyes wide. "I didn't plan to feel anything either," I admitted. "You're younger." I kept telling myself not to cross any lines. "But you made it hard to ignore. You made showing up feel easier. The silence lighter. You made me feel something again." He looked down, a small smile forming at the corner of his mouth. "So I'm not crazy?" "No," I said softly. "You're not." We sat in silence, the kind of silence that didn't need filling. Then, a car pulled into the lot beside us. Its headlights blasted through the windshield, bright and unwelcome. Olivia flinched, pulling his hoodie tighter. "That's my brother," he muttered. "He thinks I'm just grabbing water from the gas station." I blinked. "He doesn't know?" He shook his head. "No one does." I nodded. "It's okay." He glanced at me again, voice barely above a whisper. "Will it still be okay if I leave now?" I wanted to say no. I wanted more time. Just us, in that small, quiet space. But I knew what it had taken for him to come here. This wasn't something to push. "Yeah," I said, "but only if you promise this isn't the last time we talk about it." He opened the door, pausing with one foot on the pavement. "It won't be." Then he stepped into the rain. Hoodie up, shoulders hunched, I watched him walk to his brother's car and disappear into the night. And just like that, I was alone again. But for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel lost. The next week moved slower than I expected. Olivia didn't come back to the gym. No texts, no calls, just silence. I kept showing up anyway. Bench presses, rows, squats, cardio, going through the motions like it was all muscle memory. But every time the front door opened, my chest tightened with hope. And every time it wasn't him, that hope quietly collapsed. Maybe it was foolish. We'd only shared a handful of real conversations, but something about him stuck with me, like a melody I couldn't get out of my head. Then 5 days after that night in the car, my phone buzzed. "I'm outside, can we talk?" No name, no greeting. He didn't need one, I knew. I rushed out of my apartment. No jacket, just a shirt against the chill. He was already on the sidewalk, pacing near the curb, hoodie pulled up, a backpack slung over one shoulder. When he saw me, he stopped. "I wasn't sure if you'd still want to see me," he said. I crossed my arms, mostly to stay warm. "You disappeared." "I know." He looked away, hesitating. "Something happened." "What?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, then turned the screen toward me. It was a screenshot, my Instagram profile, some gym photos, and a comment. "Your little gym buddy still in high school?" "Careful, dude." My blood ran cold. "Who sent this?" I asked, jaw clenched. "I don't know," he said. "But my brother saw it. That's why I've been gone." I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. "He freaked out," Olivia continued. "Said it looked bad. Said I shouldn't go near you again. He thinks you're—" He trailed off, biting his lip. "He doesn't know anything." But it got messy, really messy. I inhaled slowly, trying to keep my voice calm. "I didn't do anything wrong, Olivia." "I know," he said quickly, "but I also know how it looks, and I'm scared." There it was. Fear. Not of me, but of what others might assume, of how fragile his world still was. "I wanted to be honest," he said softly, "but I didn't think it would blow up like this." I looked at him. Really looked. He seemed pale under the streetlight, his eyes heavy, not just from lack of sleep, but from the weight of everything he was carrying. "You're 19, I said. "You're legal. But that doesn't mean it's not complicated. I get it, and I don't want you to feel unsafe." "I don't," he said instantly. "Not with you. Never with you." I stepped forward. He didn't move, didn't flinch. We weren't touching, but I could feel the warmth of him, right there within reach. "I'd never ask you to move faster than you're ready for," I said gently. "If this feels like too much, I'll give you space. No pressure, no questions." He shook his head slowly. "That's not it." "Then what is it?" He met my eyes, really met them, and for the first time there was no fear behind his gaze. "I want to keep seeing you," he said quietly. "No pressure, no labels, just time to figure it out, together." We were standing beneath a flickering street lamp, the cold air wrapping around us, but in that moment the world felt smaller, narrowed to just him and me. Not perfect, but real. "Okay," I whispered. He smiled, a small, tired smile I hadn't seen in days. Yeah." He stepped back, tucking his hands into his pockets. "Tomorrow." "Gym, same rack," I said. He nodded, and just before he turned to leave, he said it, barely loud enough to hear. "I missed you." And just like that, the cold didn't matter anymore. He showed up the next day, right on time, just like he promised. And when I saw him, something inside me finally let go. He wasn't avoiding me. He wasn't hiding. We didn't talk much during the workout. We didn't need to. The way he handed me a towel without me asking. The way he laughed when I